Hey, what's up, guys? So, tonight's topic was, can you tell me he said, would you mind doing a video on the pros and cons of having children? So, there's no easy way to unpack this. And in no way is this woman bashing. Is it man shaming? Am I doing any of that? And I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to be truthful with you. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat anything. None of this is scripted. This is all just straight off the top of my head. It's me talking to you. The pros and cons of having children, and I'm assuming you mean in a business sense, which, that's what this channel is ultimately about. It is business and life advice. And so if you're asking me, I'm assuming you don't have children, or maybe you just want my thoughts on it. Maybe you do have kids. I don't know. We didn't cover that. I'm just going straight off the question. Do you mind doing a video on the pros and cons of having children? So since this is a business and life advice, I'm going to tell you that it is a negative. It is a negative. You're going to come to me, and so many men, I've heard them say it in the past, I want to leave a legacy. I want to build a legacy. I want to this. I want to that. I want to leave a legacy to somebody. Well, here's the deal, man. You don't have a legacy. You don't have a legacy to leave behind to anybody. Legacies are for farmers. Legacies are for oil barons and NBA players, or, professional athletes, UFC fighters, actors, musicians, real estate moguls, business moguls. You don't have a legacy. And women, this goes for you. I'm not man bashing. I'm not man shaming at all. This goes for you too. I see you out riding around with your cracked windshields, passing the gas station, knowing your light's on, but you're out there talking about getting pregnant, finding you a good man. You can't even fix your car. And you got the nerve to think you want to bring a baby into the world. I'm not bashing anybody. When I was young, I did these things myself. I have 2 kids by 2 different women. I regret both women that I had children by. I wish I would have picked that better. And I'm not bashing them. I'm sure they probably feel the same way. They'll lie. I know I don't. He did whatever. Yeah, they do. We don't even speak. I don't speak to either one of them. Here's another thing that some of you guys aren't ready for is the emotional attachment. Even though I do not talk to either one of these women, I am emotionally attached to them for the rest of my life. In some way, shape, or form. You don't want to be. Parents, married people with baby mamas, baby daddies, leave it in the comments below. You know what I'm talking about. There is an unseen thread between us. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but the laws of the universe will not let you get away from that person. It haunts you, it follows you, it whispers in your... It won't. No matter how bad you want to, no matter how much you can't stand them, no matter how much you wish that you would have picked a better partner, or wish that you'd have never met them, or whatever it is, that person is emotionally attached to you forever because you had kids with them. So there's no getting away from it. So hindsight's 2020. Me being able to look back at my life, I have to say no. As a young man, this was a man that asked, as a young man, there are no laws to protect you. None. You have no rights to your children until you buy them in a court of law, unless you are married. If you are married, then you are given the same legal rights as the mother. But if you are not married, you have no rights to your children until you buy them in a court of law. And the rights, like real rights to your children, will run you about $25,000. There are people that are in the comments that might say that they can get it less than. No. You got visitation. You got weekends. You're a Wednesday and a weekend, every other weekend daddy. You paid $1,500 with a cheap lawyer to get from 5 to 9 p.m. on a Wednesday and every other weekend. You're a weekend warrior. But to actually have rights to your kids, it costs $25,000. And as a man, and I don't know about other countries, I'd say they're pretty close. Maybe in the UK, I'd say it's pretty close. I know I had other people from Uruguay, and I've had other people from around the world. I'd say UK is pretty close. Most of what we do here in the Western civilization in America, we adopted from England. So I'd say we're pretty close on that. Leave that in the comments below, you guys from the UK, if how those laws are. You know, I'd kind of like to know that myself. And if you comment anything on this channel, I do the best I can to respond to each and every one of them. I do, man. I enjoy interacting with you guys and hearing your thoughts. I do. Good or bad, I'm all open for all criticism, and I thank you for it. But to get back to the question, I have to say, and from a business standpoint, it is a negative. My child support is more than my rent. That's wild, right? So the way it works, I have 2 kids by 2 different women. I've raised my oldest son since he was 3 years old. I've raised him alone for the past almost 13 years. He'll be 16 in a few months. I've raised him alone for the past 13 years. I've dated a lot of women during that time, and I've never really had any woman that was willing to really help me raise him. But I'll put it to you like this. I've never had a woman want to take care of my kid, but I've had a bunch of women want me to take care of theirs. I've never had a woman that was really ready to sit down and help me raise my son, but I've had a bunch of women that wanted me to step in their life and raise theirs. They wanted my meat, my money, energy, attention, and time when it came pertaining to them and their children, but it was not the same way around. And that even carries over to my second son's mother. She wanted to have a child with me, but she wanted nothing to do with my firstborn child. I'm not here to bash women. I'm just telling you my story. And from my own perspective, what I've seen in society and what I've seen as far as me dating, a lot of women don't even want their kids. They just don't want the father to have them. Like I said, I'm not trying to bash women. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but there's no way that I could have this conversation without you guys, with you guys, without being honest. And this is probably not pertaining to anybody in my group, because the women right here in this group, you are business savvy type women. Now, it might be though, because those are some strict, strong business moves, but you are business savvy women, and to become business savvy and develop, personal character, personal growth, personal gain, you have to be a tactical and a critical thinker. So I don't believe that any of you are that way that are going to watch this, but I know you know some. I know you've sat down at cocktail hour or at brunch with your girls and they talk about just divorce him and take all his money. Just divorce him and get the house. Just divorce him and do this or do that. They're planning to take their husband's money. You guys sit around, you've seen it, you've heard it, you know it. But I've never had a woman struggle with me, but I've had a bunch leave me in the struggle. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a big reason why I'm single. That's a big reason why I make the tactical financial decisions that I make, and I make them alone. I don't look for anybody else to make those decisions for me. So when you ask me about the pros and cons of having children, there's a lot of positives into having children. It's very rewarding if you can pick the right partner at the right time and have the right relationship. We didn't discuss how old you were. I don't know. I don't know if you have a partner, if you got children already, if you're about to have some, want some, I don't know. I assume with this question, you either have them or you want them. And I'm going to assume that you have a business mind and you're thinking about having kids. I want you to know that once you have children, man, everything becomes exposed, especially if it doesn't work out and she puts you on child support. This is where my thought process came in of becoming your own central bank. I do not leave things in the bank. There was a period in 2019, right at COVID, when child support reached into my bank. They levied my bank accounts. They took all my money off of a paperwork mistake, and they never gave me my money back. They said they would accredit it to my account. I talked about this in some other videos before. So they accredited it to my account, which allows me to get off child support about a year or so early, as long as everything, and I don't fall behind or anything. So I'll be off when my son's about 17, maybe, but they keep raising it. So I'll really never get off. I will, but I won't get off until he's grown. The way the child support system works for me, and it will for you too, is depending on the state you're in. I'm in California. It takes 25%. So right now they take, their 25% is from me. So let's just say for math purposes that they take $1,000 a month. Let's say I make $50,000 a year and they take $1,000 a month. And so now I have to base my life off of, okay, I'm losing $1,000 a month of income. So because this is before taxes. So I have to base my life around that $1,000 a month payment. So I can go out and get a second job. I can do that. Or I can work really hard and up my income through being an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, rising through the ranks of a company. And then in 24 months, roughly, my son's mother realizes that I'm sure he's upped his income by now. She's smart enough. She makes these tactical decisions. She thinks to herself, I'm sure he's upped his income. Let me take him back to child support. So the more you make, the more they'll take. So now let's say that I'm making $85,000 a year, but I'm still making that $1,000 a month payment. I've worked really hard just to be able to support myself and my oldest son financially. And she takes me back to child support. They base my child support off that $85,000. Now my child support goes up to $1,800 a month. And so now I have to base my life off of an $1,800 a month payment. It's like, okay, let me make $125,000. 24 months later, she takes me back to court, and it's, he's making more money. Let's take him back to court. He makes $125,000 a year. They take that $1,800, they raise it up to about $3,000 a month. You see where I'm going with this? The more you make, the more they take. And it just keeps happening until he's grown. And she can keep doing that until he's grown. You have no say-so, no rights to your children. There's going to be people in the comments that come for me and say this and that, and you can do this and that. No, you can't. I'm all the way in Tennessee. I cannot be a Wednesday and an every other weekend father from Tennessee. And just for me to go to court and fight is about $10,000 or $15,000. So let's get away from my scenario. The pros and cons of having a child or having children while you're trying to build wealth for yourself are just that. It's going to put you in a financial hole. Kids are expensive. You're going to spend a lot of money on kids. I mean, that's just it. You're going to be married. Your wife's going to want to buy stuff, especially if she's not financially literate and you're not financially literate. You're going to go out, you're going to spend money on things. And it's just not a good business move. The only way this is a good business move is I put this scenario, I put this in your head. I don't think I was grown. I always felt or acted like I was grown before I was. Some of you know what I'm talking about. I do not think that I was a grown adult man until I was 32 years old. I don't know if you would call that a late bloomer. I think it's right on time. Because I mean a real man. I don't mean, oh, I'm grown, I'm a man. I don't mean that bullshit. I mean a real man. I used to think I was, because I could fix a car, I could ride horses, I could do this, I could do that. I used to think that I was a man. I was not a man until I was left homeless at 32 years old, and I dug myself out of that. There is nothing you or anybody else, whether it be online or in person or wherever, that will ever be able to say anything about me to hurt my feelings or do anything to make me think they can control me. Not my boss, not my job, not the government, nobody. At 32 years old, I realized what I was willing to do and not to do. I knew what I was willing to do and what I was not willing to do. I knew what I was willing to live and die for. By 32 years old, I had all that figured out. There are some people that probably mature way earlier and figure these things out in their early 20s or however. I used to think I knew the power of yes and no. When I say yes to somebody, when I shake a man's hand, I used to think I knew what that meant. Now I really do. I really do. If I tell you I'll be somewhere at 5 a.m., I'll be there 4:30, hanging outside waiting on you. I say all that to say this. If you're thinking of having kids, this needs to be a tactical decision made like anything else in your business and personal life. You wouldn't just go out and run around, run amok, and do the dumbest shit ever with your money. Don't do dumb shit like this. Having a kids can be a great thing. It can be the most beautiful, promising thing in the world if you pick the right person, the right partner, and you guys are on the same playing field. The wrong woman can run your life. And I say that, and I'm sure that women are like, the wrong man can too. Yeah, but there are no laws to protect him. I've had 3 friends murdered by women, and each one of them, 2 of them got off, the other one went to jail. Each one of those women claimed abuse. I knew 2 of these guys really well. They weren't woman beaters. And I know somebody will say what they do behind closed doors. I knew them really, really well. They weren't woman beaters. They might cuss them out or something, but they weren't. So when I say the wrong woman can run your life, that's what I mean. There's no laws to protect you. Society will always back them up. So when you go to making these types of decisions, you're not only thinking with what's between your legs, man, you're thinking with your bank account, you're thinking with your life insurance, your health insurance. You need to be thinking with everything. If you got any form of investments, because this right here can cripple you. The person you choose to have children with can cripple you. I don't know if my answer is what you're wanting to hear. I don't know if you were wanting some fluff. I don't know if you were what you were wanting, but I'm just being honest with you. Since you're a man, you need to know that there are no laws to protect you in society. You can, and very much so, will be thrown on child support. It probably won't work out. Look at all the people dating that you know that have broke up. Matter of fact, here's a real number. 85% of marriages end in divorce. Out of that 85%, 70% are filed by women. Okay? 85% of marriages end in divorce. Out of that 85%, 70% of divorces are filed by women. So as soon as she wakes up and she's not happy with you because you done got a beer gut or whatever, you're not making enough money, you're a loser, you never got the, 5-bedroom and the airplane that you promised when you were 19. And she wakes up at 23, 24, 25, and she's not happy with you. And she decides to pack her shit and go live with her mom and dad until her and the kids figure it out. Then here comes child support. Here comes parental alienation. Here comes family law. Now you're losing 25% of your income. Don't look at me and say, oh, that's just your story. It ain't gonna happen to me. You're not a fucking unicorn. And you didn't find one either. Like I just said, 85% of marriages end in divorce. For those of you that are married, stay married. There's nothing out here, man. There's nothing out here. I've had more ass in a truck stop toilet, man. There's nothing out here. If you're married, stay married. Enjoy your life, grow old together. There's nothing more. What else you gonna do? Go to the bars, go to the clubs, get on Plenty of Fish, create a Tinder profile, catch chlamydia. What else are you gonna do, man? If you're married, stay married. Stay with your husband, stay with your wife, raise a family, chase the American dream, do what you got to do. If you're single, man or woman, you need to really look at your life, look at where you're at, and realize and ask yourself, can I afford another person? Because it's expensive. It's expensive. Every time you walk into the freaking Family Dollar, you're buying a $10 toy. Every day you're buying something. I miss those days with my son. I really do, when he was so little and we'd have to stop at the little quarter machine and let him get something. Those are great times, man, but I was poor. Not because of the quarter machine, not because of my son. There were so many factors at play. I had no support system. I had no help. There are people out there right now that know what I'm talking about. I would get a good job, and there was a time I worked for a company called Honeywell. Some of you guys in the US, they might have it over in the UK, know it, but Honeywell, man, they make all types of different products. I was making about $22 an hour at Honeywell, and this was back in like 2014. My son's like 4 or 5 years old back then, or some 5 years old maybe. I'm making like $22 an hour at Honeywell. I'm working 12, 15-hour shifts at this place. It's one of those places you go in and you get locked in. You scan in with your ID badge and your card and you get locked in, and you're locked in there for 12 to 15 hours. If they need overtime, this and that, you stay. It's a real job. You know, it was benefits, everything. I would run, babysitters would call me. I'm not going to be able to make it 30 minutes before their shift, before I'm supposed to be at work. I can't make it. I lost that job. You know, and that's not only one. I was a mailman for a minute. I worked at the post office for a minute. Lost that job. I had no support. I had no financial backing. I had no support, no family support, no mother support, no support from anybody. Single women, there's a lot of single mothers out there, but nobody talks about the single fathers. I stayed poor. The whole time that my son was a little boy, I struggled. Because nobody was there to watch him. Nobody was there to help me. Nobody cared. And don't think that you're going to find somebody so special. That's why I say if you're married, stay married. That is the biggest flex you can have, is a marriage with the right person. And hopefully, you know, nobody's cheating and beating, and you guys just really stay married and focus on your household. You're unstoppable. You're unstoppable. But if you're single out here trying to have kids, man or woman, look at your life. Can you afford somebody? There's so many of you riding around with a cracked windshield. Women, you pass the gas station and you don't fill up your car. You think you can have a baby? Why? Because it's cute? Because society tells you to? Because you got some little biological time clock telling you, I got to have a kid before I'm 35. No, you don't. You can't even afford to take care of yourself. And then you got these men, they're going to come at me and they're going to say, well, I want to leave a legacy. You don't have a legacy, man. You don't have anything. You're broke. You're poor. You want to leave a poor legacy? You don't have one. How about you go build a legacy first? Because see, I didn't have this thought process. I didn't have a me. There was nobody talking to me, man. I didn't have anybody that was just like, hey, Robert, do this, this, and this, and it's going to get you here. Do this, when you get there, do this, this, and this, and it's going to get you there. Nobody was talking to me about shit. Here's a beer. Smoke some weed. You need a pack of cigarettes. That's what I got in my life. You know what I'm saying? It's just, smoke up, Johnny. You know, that's how it was. You don't have a legacy. Go build a legacy first, and then decide if you want to have children. Go build that legacy first. And go back to some of my old videos. Like I said, go see how hard it is to get to $10,000. Go save $10,000. When you see how hard it is to get to $10,000, you're going to look at everybody around you a little bit different. You're going to spend your money a little wiser. You're going to think. You're going to take calculated, methodical steps before you do anything. Now, to go from $10,000 to $100,000 and tell me how different you look at the people around you, how different you look at society. Tell me how different you look at that. I was poor as shit. And I started saving and working my ass off. I did not want to be around people that all they had was negative shit. I don't care who you were. I did not want to be around it. I did not want to hear that mindset, that mentality. I did not want to be around it. I did not want to be around those kind of people. So when you go telling me that you want to be rich, but you want to have kids, cool, fine. But you better come up with a methodical plan that's going to get you there. Climb that mountain like I told you before. Climb to the top of that mountain and look back down. What do we want our life to look like? Who are we? When we're 70 years old and we look back down that mountain, what's the path we took to get to where we are at 70? Project yourself that far into the future. Who are you? Close your eyes. Shut your mouth. Don't tell anybody what it is that you're doing or what you want. Go find a quiet, private place. Sit down, close your eyes, be quiet, and just meditate on that for a minute. Picture yourself at 70 years old. Who are you? What kind of house are you living in? You got a little small farm. You got white picket fence. You got a dog. You got a cat. You got grandkids, swimming pool. You still working out. You're in great shape. You're hitting the gym at 70 years old. What are you doing? Who are you? Come back to reality and create that man. If that man has a legacy at 70 years old, then you need to start building that first. And that you will find the right partner along the way. You will find the right woman along the way. But to just be out here recklessly fucking and just having kids with anybody, man or woman, it's not going to do you any good. It's going to hold you back, and it's going to ruin your life. I can't be any more clear than that. So when you ask me the pros and cons of having children, the pros are that you always have a little you running around that will forever love you as long as you are a good parent. The cons are, if you choose the wrong partner, you can ultimately just ruin your future. I mean, seriously, there's no other way to put it. Because if you pick the wrong person, my son's mother in California 100% raises my youngest son to hate me. He doesn't even know me. He's met me a handful of times. I don't get out there that much. Eventually, you just kind of give up going when it's just complete drama every time. You just quit showing up. And I mean that. Yeah, there's men out there that know exactly what I'm talking about. When you show up and you spend your last dime for plane tickets and this and that, and you travel across the country or wherever you're going, whatever your situation, and it's just complete drama, you just quit going. That kid's 100% been raised to hate me. It's sad, but it's true. I just pay my child support. I pay my stuff every month. I'm not behind in any form. I pay over $1,000 a month. I just send it out there and I just move on. I send the gifts, I send the presents, and I just go. He has my information. If he wants to look me up, he can. If not, I have to focus on my economy right here. I have to focus on me right here, because I never receive Father's Day cards, letters. I don't get anything, birthday gifts, nothing. But if my child support doesn't come, you can guarantee somebody's going to come looking. Why is their check not there? But other than that, I receive nothing from them. I'm expected to give, but I get nothing. So, I mean, it's sad. It sounds sad, and that's not me crying about it. I'm pretty used to it by now. But I receive absolutely nothing. I have a kid all the way across the country, and all I do is pay money, and I receive nothing in return. I don't know if this is going to be a good investment or not. My oldest son, I'd have to say it's a good investment. I mean, hopefully, anything can swoo and sway, but hopefully it is. You shouldn't look at your kids as an investment, but you do hope that if your kids do become successful, they'll look out for you. When it comes to my youngest son, I don't know, because he doesn't know me and he's just fed nothing but whatever negativity about me. So those are things that you have to watch for. I'm not the perfect person to tell you to go out here and have children, because I'm not. I think it's reckless. I think you'll potentially ruin your life, because if you pick the wrong partner, it will send you down a road of financial ruin. You will be in and out of litigation. You will be in and out of family court. Older guys, tell them, please. You pick the wrong woman. There are no laws to protect you. You will be in and out of court. You will be in and out of family law. Child support will be up your ass. They'll run your credit. They'll come after your finances. They'll levy your bank accounts. They'll come after your driver's license. Depending on your state, they'll issue warrants for you. They'll try to arrest you. I mean, so on, and so on. Go look it up, man. These aren't made up stories that you hear from people. These are real stories. So when you tell me you want to have a child, if you don't have any already, you need to make a tactical decision. And I'm going to tell you to focus on yourself first. Start building wealth. Get your money right, get your life right, and then that will start to dictate the type of woman that you want in your life. Once you start making money for yourself, you will not just be out here recklessly dating random girls from the club or gas station. You won't even, because you're a target. I've talked about this in my other videos. You become a target. Once you start hitting a certain level of financial independence, you become a target. You have to be smart. You have to become the CEO of your own life. I tell everybody, America is a business. You have to conduct your life like one. You have to become the CEO of your own life. I don't know if this was the answer you were looking for. I mean, if you don't have any kids, I'm going to tell you to focus on yourself, build health, wealth, and happiness for yourself, and then circle the block and think about children then. But get yourself together first, because it will dictate the type of woman that you date. And vice versa. Ladies, this role works for you as well. Do the same, just reverse the roles. But, having kids can be a beautiful thing with the right partner, but it can be hell with the wrong one, man. So anyways, I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question in some form. If you got anything out of this content, leave it in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Smash that like button. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, for real. Thank you guys so much for coming onto the channel and just hanging out with me. I've enjoyed it. I try to get back to each and every one of your comments. Hopefully I haven't missed anybody. I really do try to respond to everybody. So anyways, man, feel free to leave me a comment. Let me know if you got anything out of this. I really do thank you guys, and I really do appreciate it. Take care.